As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's this day in history.
Hey, the United States recently turned 250 years old. We're keeping the party going by celebrating our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. Nothing like a party that doesn't end, right, Charlie?
Right, it just keeps going and going and going.
And today we're talking about the gold rush.
Yeah, the gold rush. On this day, August 19th, 1848, the New York Herald became the first major Eastern newspaper to break the discovery of gold in California. However, gold had been discovered in the region as early as 1842 in the mountains north of what's now the city of Los Angeles. However, local friars told anyone who discovered gold in the area to keep its location a secret to avoid a gold rush. But that would only last until January 24th, 1848, when James Marshall discovered gold near a lumber mill northeast of Sacramento. The word spread across the U.S. slowly, taking until December for then President James Polk to confirm the discovery in an address to Congress. Through the years, around 300,000 people made their way to California looking to strike it rich. That included several Wisconsinites. Many of them were miners from the state's lead mining region near Mineral Point and Dodgeville. Most of them ended up flat broke. That's this day in history for August 19th.
You roll the dice. Sometimes you don't come up a winner, right?
You know a guy who was?
Who?
Levi Strauss.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
He hit gold, huh?
No, he created jeans, and all the miners needed them.
Oh, right, yeah. He saw a way around the rush
Yes.
to supply that. That's pretty cool.
Make the supplies, don't dig for it.
There you go. All right, Charlie, thank you.